Welcome to SingaporePropertyLens.com. PK So's online clone and I are here to cut through all that noise, that information overload, and really give you the vital insights you need and save you lots of time researching through AI. We sift through the sources, the data, and pull out what truly matters, custom tailored for you, our listener. Today, we're diving deep into Singapore's urban future. Specifically, we're looking at the URA's Draft Masterplan 2025, and crucially, how these upcoming developments could really impact your property decisions and, well, just your day to day life here. So, we'll be asking, what do the latest land bids tell us? What will future neighborhoods actually feel like? And, how is Singapore planning to make life even more convenient? Maybe even better? Okay, so let's start with the pulse of the market. Two big land bids just closed, and interestingly, they had really different results. First, there's that maiden plot at Bukit Timah Turf City along Dunearn Road. Highly contested, it pulled in 9 bids. Nine, that's the most we've seen since way back in October 2022. And the winning bid, $491.5 million, dollars, which works out to about 1,410 per square foot per plot ratio, or PSF/PPR. That came from a group led by Fraser's Property, Sekisui House, and CSC Land Group.
Right. And what's really telling, I think, is why there was so much interest. It wasn't just any plot. The Draft Master Plan 2025 actually provided a lot of clarity on how that land could be used. Yeah, that significantly, reduced the risks for developers.
Okay, so clarity was key.
Exactly. It's a strategic signal from URA guiding investment, and the potential there is huge. We're talking 15,000 to 20,000 new homes, public and private, right in Bukit Timah. Over the next, say, 10 to 15 years, you're looking at 20 residential plots, 3 white sites, 2 with commercial downstairs. But it's not just about the buildings. The vision is for community facilities, parks, all within a 10-minute walk, plus. And this is fascinating. They're conserving 22 heritage buildings, including those 2 big grandstands. They'll become community spots. So it really paints a picture of a very rounded lifestyle, mixing the new with that sense of history.
That does sound incredibly appealing, a whole integrated community. But then let's contrast that with the Marina Gardens Crescent site over in Marina South. A totally different story there, right? Just one did nearly 770.5 million, or 984 PSF/PPR from Guaco Lands Consortium, and URA turned it down in 2024, said it was
Yeah,
too low. In such a prime spot, that feels quite significant. What's the takeaway there?
it's definitely significant. It sends a, loud message from the market. That bid being rejected, especially being almost 30% lower than a nearby plot sold in June 2023. Kingsford Group paid over 1,400 PSF/PPR then. Now it translates to one Marina Gardens, which is generating a lot of interest, being the first plot launched at Marina South.
Wow, quite a difference.
Exactly. So market watchers are saying, look, there's caution about these really large sites that need huge amounts of capital, particularly in areas like Marina South, which are still, emerging, still developing. There's also maybe a sense that there's already quite a bit of supply coming up in the city, which might dampen developer confidence for these massive, more speculative projects. But then there's another perspective of being the first mover in an area that has immense potential, pretty much like what happened when the sale at Marina Bay was launched. When, Marina Bay Financial Center and Marina Bay Sands were all non-existent on reclaimed land. So what does this contrast tell you? It really highlights where developers see value, and perhaps more importantly, where they see risk right now. They seem to favor these proven de-risk locations like Turf City over the big bets in less established areas, even prime ones.
Right. It's a clear signal of shifting priorities. And like you said, these shifts are tied directly to that bigger picture, the URA's Draft Master Plan 2025. This is the blueprint for the next 10, 15 years. It's massive planning for at least 80,000 new homes spread across more than 10 new neighborhoods. So given that caution we just discussed about large undeveloped sites, how does this master plan tackle living in the central areas and perhaps alleviate potential concerns?
Yeah, that's a really good point. A key part of the master plan is actually about bringing more homes, more life back into central Singapore. Take Newton, for example. Right next to the MRT and the food center, they're planning what they call an urban village. That means around 5,000 new private homes in 3 clusters. But the really interesting part, I think, is Monks Hill Road. It's set to become a linear park, keeping the mature trees, integrating heritage buildings, and connecting right through to Emerald Hill. So you'll have green spaces and history literally on your doorstep.
That sounds lovely, weaving nature right in.
Exactly. And then you get the Orchard and Patterson Road area. There's a new integrated development planned right above Orchard MRT. Behind Ion Orchard, that's another 5,000 private homes, plus retail F&B offices. They're talking about a new shop-lined route down to Orchard Road itself, new cycling paths connecting to this inner ring identity corridor. So what's the bottom line for you? It's about bringing that vibrant mixed-use living right back into the city center, making it convenient. And there are even hints, about potential HDB flats in these central spots too, which could make city living more accessible for more people.
That's a really interesting point about accessibility. Revitalizing the core seems key, but Singapore's growth isn't just central, is it? What about new neighborhoods elsewhere?
Oh, absolutely. The vision spreads right across the island. Neat. Look at Dover Medway along Dover Road. You're going to see a mix of public and private housing there, about 6,000 homes in the first go, plus new amenities. And it's right near the One North hub, which is super convenient if you work in tech, media, biomedical fields, work-life integration.
Makes sense. Proximity to work hubs.
Then there's the former Singapore racecourse site up in Kranji. That's going to be a huge transformation. A whole new housing estate, maybe 14,000 homes. And the big draw there is its location right next to the new Kranji Nature Corridor. So residents will have amazing access to parks, community spaces, waterways like Sungai Mandai. Think serene, really nature-focused living.
A nature-centric town, almost. And what about Sembawang Shipyard? That's a unique spot coming up after 2028.
Sembawang is fascinating. It's going to become a mixed-use waterfront district. They're planning public access to the waterfront, and they're repurposing some of the old British Naval Base heritage buildings for community use, sports, culture. It promises a really unique coastal lifestyle, blending history with recreation. And then the really big one, potentially, is Paya Lebar Airbase in the Defu area. Once the airbase moves in the 2030s, that frees up 800 hectares. That's massive, like 5 Topayos. Incredible scale. It'll be a completely new town. Housing, recreation, jobs, integrated walking and cycling paths. Development will start nearby in Defu, and the aim is to have essential services, shops, all within a 10-minute walk. Talk about convenience. A real self-contained community.
It's clear the plan goes way beyond just housing units. It seems deeply focused on enhancing, your quality of life, making things easier, offering more recreation. How exactly does it aim to improve that daily experience?
It really does focus on that overall experience, and it seems to be responding to what people have asked for. Take the new integrated community hubs. We'll see these pop up in places like Woodlands, Yeo Chu Kang, Sengkang, and the idea, similar to our Tampines hub, is to put everything under one roof: sports, healthcare, shops, community activities, and crucially, near transport nodes. So imagine, seeing a doctor, grabbing groceries, going for a swim, all in one place, easily reachable. That's a big step up in daily convenience.
Definitely sounds convenient.
And then there's the whole green and active living aspect, Singapore pushing its city and nature vision. The Park Connector network keeps growing, aiming for 1,300 kilometers by 2030. Plus, 25 new parks planned in just the next 5 years. That Kranji Nature Corridor we mentioned, that's part of strengthening ecological links and giving you more places for nature-based recreation. More green spaces, more healthy options.
And getting around to enjoy these spaces, any specific connectivity improvements?
Yes, some key ones. There's a new pedestrian and cycling bridge coming by. 2029 linking Marina Center over to Bay East Garden. That gives you a direct city connection to the East Coast, along the Round Island route. Also, an elevated walkway between Dhoby Ghat, Green, and Fort Canning Park. These kinds of links really boost walkability and make it easier for you to access and enjoy the green parts of the city.
Okay. And what about changing demographics? Any focus on older residents?
Good question. Yes, the plan includes more senior-friendly homes. Things like community care apartments, that's public housing with care services right on site. And we're also seeing private assisted living options, like the one coming up on Perry Avenue by early 2026. So more choices for people wanting to age actively and independently. It offers, peace of mind.
So convenience, green living, future needs are all addressed. But you also mentioned heritage earlier, especially at Turf City. The plan seems to put a strong emphasis on preserving that sense of history and identity, too. Conserving 22 buildings at Turf City, including the grandstands, plus others like the Nat Steel Pavilion. It's quite a commitment. How well can heritage be truly woven into these new developments so it feels, authentic?
That's a really crucial point, and Turf City is actually a great example of a shift in how heritage is being handled. What's really insightful, I think, is the use of early heritage studies under this Heritage Impact Assessment, or HIA, framework. This allowed them to make informed decisions before the big development plans were locked in. It's different from some past situations, like say the old police academy in Mount Pleasant, where things happened maybe a bit too late. At Turf City, because they did this early assessment, they actually tweaked things like the MRT station design to avoid impacting heritage buildings. And ultimately, more buildings were identified for conservation. And it means that when these buildings are repurposed, maybe the grandstands become dining spots or community hubs. The Saddle Club building used for community activities. It feels organic. Future residents can actually connect with a site's history. It helps create neighborhoods with a unique character, a real sense of place, enriching your experience rather than just being, a token nod to the past. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's clear Singapore's urban future, mapped out in this Draft Masterplan 2025, is really being carefully crafted. The goal seems to be highly livable neighborhoods that are connected and rich in identity. The plan really tries to strike that balance, doesn't it? Handling growth and housing needs while at the same time boosting lifestyle convenience, green spaces, and holding on to that shared heritage. All these elements, the new housing areas, those integrated hubs, the green corridors, they're all designed ultimately to directly enhance your daily life, how you work, how you relax. So maybe a final thought for you to consider with these new urban villages in the center, revitalized regional hubs, and a strong focus on green spaces and heritage everywhere. How might your idea of a prime location change? Maybe it's less about just being central, traditionally defined. Perhaps the real value now lies in how well your home connects you to convenience, to nature, and to a unique sense of place, a place with a story. We'd really encourage you to check out the URA Draft Masterplan 2025 exhibition yourself. It's available online and in person. See these visions firsthand. I'm PK So's online clone, and PK looks forward to answering more of your questions. Feel free to check out SingaporePropertyLens.com. Thank you for listening in.